All things in the entire world are linked with one another, because all moments are the time being. They are your time being.
More often than not, people see me as Goga Vionnet because obviously I have, I am the representation in every sense of the word of this beautiful and very old heritage Parisian brand called Vionnet. I've been the creative director, the CEO, and the driving force behind it, trying to revive this beautiful, beautiful brand. And it was still an early time, age-wise, and I sat down. I thought to myself, I really have an opportunity right now to start doing something I love, that I'm passionate about. So I took a sabbatical year, 1 year off. And I moved to Florence, which is my favorite city. And for a year, I flew in professors and studied history of fashion, history of art, sculpture, photography, drawing, painting rather. And I knew I wanted to be in fashion. And in any case, this passion for fashion has started quite a while ago, since I was a little girl. Again, never realized because of the different times that we lived in and circumstances. So when you're talking about family support, and when we talk about this story, this is why it's such a long answer, is I've changed quite drastically, quite a few times in my life. And I couldn't have done that without the support of my family because, for instance, my mother or my husband always said, yes, Goga. When I said, I'm going to go into fashion, and obviously they were as shocked as everybody else to hear about it, because it's such a drastic change. I said, what do you think? And they said, you can do it. You are talented in every sense, and that was your passion always, and you can do it. So without that assurance, I don't think I would have been able. So I had then looked at different brands, because it was never my idea to do a Goga Ashkenazi brand. I wanted to, as my love for history, obviously early on, it was always my idea to revive and continue something that was important. Reinvent it, perhaps, but then carry on the history of another. And when I studied Vionnet, I knew of Vionnet when I was a little girl. I looked at a number of brands, like Gianfranco Ferré, beautiful, that didn't work out. Ungaro, also beautiful. But when I heard about Vionnet, it just clicked. It felt home. Many interviewers ask me, why did you choose Vionnet? And I always say, Vionnet chose me. Because I do really feel that. Madeleine Vionnet was a visionary, revolutionary of fashion as we know it. She established her brand called Vionnet in 1912 in Paris. Her headquarters being number 50 Avenue Montaigne, so this large, very beautiful building in Paris. And she had 1,200 employees. This is in comparison when Coco Chanel, at best, at the highest level, had 70. So by far the largest couture house. She was considered to be a revolutionary because she did something very different. She changed the face of fashion as we know it today and as we see it today. Before Madeleine Vionnet, women were wearing first an undergarment, then a corset, then the overtop garment, whatever it would be. She liberated the female form, almost celebrating it and putting the woman in one layer silk clothing. Also inventing the bias cut, inspired by the Grecian clothing. Now this drape you see on many high fashion designers and just fashion of today, but it is in fact inspired and invented by Madeleine Vionnet. Also plissé skirts, perhaps you also see it everywhere, but again it is one of our codes. She's invented the plissé as we know it. She's invented also stretch materials. She's invented the silhouette that quite famously Azedine Alaïa has adopted and always does say that it is inspired by Madeleine Vionnet, and has inspired many openly inspired many of the artists and fashion couturiers of today, such as John Galliano, who openly speaks about it, Alexander McQueen, now unfortunately not with us, however, was largely inspired by Madeleine Vionnet. As I mentioned, Azedine, who has the largest private collection actually outside the museums of Madeleine Vionnet clothing. So sometimes I see very, very reminiscent pieces. In any case, his silhouette is one of those. And of course, we have the archives and we are inspired every single day. And we follow the codes that she had left for the entire fashion industry of today. The Bushido, of course, is the code of the warrior. And that was originally the code of the warrior of the samurai. Samurai, of course, being the Japanese highest ranked warriors that supported the royal family that they were loyal to, and the way that they were educated, the way that they were taught to almost to think, to not only behave. It was truly a way of life. Because to become a samurai, you had to be born into a family of samurai. There would be no other way. There was no school that somebody could put their children to become a samurai. That you had to be born and raised, because the training started from birth. And there are a few concepts of Bushido that I wanted to highlight and bring back again, almost as a code of behavior for us, also in fashion, overall for a person. Of course, the Middle Eastern warrior for me is, there were, if I show you the mood board, it's funny you say that about the Middle East, because on the mood board I also had this very fierce warriors from the Middle East and also from Central Asia, the Mongolian, one of my predecessors, I suppose, the Genghis Khan. And there is this one archer discipline or tradition that has continued today until today. It's called Yabusame. This code, there are a few words, there are a few important notions that I think everybody should somehow remember in their everyday life, and that is honesty, honor, that is serenity, loyalty, ferocity, bravery. at some point, I started feeling this really heavy feeling of the karma of all these animals that I've been killing. And I consciously decided that it is time for me to stop killing anything. It was 7 years ago. Obviously I read quite a bit, and I constantly learn. The longer I live, the less I know, I feel. And I constantly learn, and reading and being concerned, and also since then I've had 2 sons. I have two sons whose lives have influenced me quite a bit. I've started to think about the repercussions of our actions, also for the future. The fact that we are killing the animals, the fact of how we are killing the animals, of the fact of how we are treating the planet, has repercussions for the lives, perhaps not for our lives, but will definitely have repercussions for the lives of our children. In Kazakhstan, there is a huge, on the territory of Kazakhstan, there is a huge ecological tragedy that has happened. If you look at the satellite pictures of 1989 and 2008, you will see that there is a sea that has disappeared. It's called the Aral Sea. One of the main tragedies of Kazakhstan, being my country that I associate with, is the fact that it doesn't have sea access. With all of its reserves, it's landlocked and doesn't have an outlet. And obviously also the people are not, a lot of people have never seen the sea. Looking at the statistics and looking at what's happening today, for instance, you will not know, but for a production of jeans that you're wearing today, they need to use 20,000 liters of water. But every 8 seconds, a child is dying from contaminated water. The fashion industry is number 2 pollutant industry in the world, second only after oil and gas industry, which I just happen to be in both. I feel personally responsible for a lot of it. Reading all of this, just being logical, you understand that our children will have a very different world to live in if we don't change something. For me, change has to come from trying, almost like a drop in the ocean. Every drop in the ocean makes up the ocean. Of trying to change your life, of trying to do what you can do to change that, and hopefully to inspire others to change. All this fast fashion that we see, it's achieved at the expense of the planet and also ethics. They use child labor, they use slavery almost. The production that's happening, those very, very fast high street fashion brands, that or so-called fashion brands that rip off our creativity really, and produce 800 different styles every couple of weeks. All that fast fashion that we're talking about, it comes at the expense of polluting our environment and also treating the workforce unethically. I want to stop that. I want people to be aware. And I want the people who can afford luxury fashion to truly not only wear luxury, but also to stand for an idea, to stand up together with me, together with Vionnet, for sustainability and a thought that to consume, we don't need to make damage. under the Vionnet platform to have collaborations with true luxury, but true luxury products under the flagship of Vionnet, and create a full line of consumer products. And I'm talking about home decor, I'm talking about furniture, I'm talking about linen, I'm talking about glasses, I'm talking about every kind of accessory that you can think of. We're already doing bijou, but obviously we're also we're even working on a surfboard right now. That is going to be one of the themes of the concept stores. In Dubai, there will be a concept store in actually in the Dubai Mall in April already. And we are working, but every single one of them is going to be touched by an artist, a craftsman, and it's going to be done in a personalized, luxurious way that is going to be done, and it's going to be done for you. We live in a man's world. I am a woman entrepreneur, but I live in a man's world today. I think the fashion industry is run by men. The banking industry is run by men. And that is not because women are, even the artists, there are more artists men than there are women. And that is not because women are less are in any way less creative or less hardworking or less able or less talented. It is because just due to the human history, the man had played an integral part in providing. Fashion industry for art, perhaps creativity is very important. For entrepreneurship, you have to have a way in business, and you have to be able to, I guess, to be very organized and structure your day. I'm able to do kind of many things at the same time because I'm almost horrifically OCD. I like to have everything in order. My schedules are run by 4 people. I make sure not 1 minute is spent without doing something. So I'm not recommending it. This is me, my individual. I'm not saying that this is the way to achieve success. I say if you chose to be a mother, you are a success. If you look at your children and you like what you see and you have a great relationship, you are a success. If you've achieved growing a company from zero, you are a success in your own right. If you are just somebody who is cleaning over there and this is your goals, and you're paying for your family, and I don't know, perhaps in another country, you are a success and you deserve respect.